I'm Mike Allegra, the General Manager of the Utah Transit Authority, and welcome here today. This is a very festive event for us, and I need to start off with a safety minute, so bear with me, please. Please discontinue the use of all electronic devices at this time, and be certain tray tables and footrests and video units are properly stowed. Smoking is not allowed on any UTA vehicles. Federal law prohibits tampering and disabling and destroying with laboratory smoke detectors. Lighted signs are visible throughout the cabin, and federal regulations require you to comply with all signs and crew members' instructions. Thank you very much. You know, there have been so many people that have contributed to this, and we would be here through the night if I had to recognize them. And I see many of you in the audience today, but I wanted to have a couple of shout-outs for people on this stage, some of which you'll hear from. But I'd also like to recognize, just starting with the UTA members and the contractors, Stacy Whitback and Herzog. Can you guys all raise your hand? Anybody from UTA or the contractors that have participated out in the audience and all? They've done us a great, great job. I want to recognize the UTA Board of Directors. There's a couple up on the stage, but I know there's many, many out in the audience. Can you please either stand up or raise your hands? Bob and Michael and others, they do an incredible job for this community. And then certainly the elected officials are here. We have some up in the stage, but I see many, many out in the audience as well. So raise your hands and a round of applause for all those that have contributed in the last decade and a half to get us to this point here. As you can see, the festivities are fully underway. I got a chance to ride the line and stop at every station today. There's food, there's music, they're stamping out passports. It's just a really festive event, and everybody is having a great time. So join us in those community celebrations. They'll be going on till 5 today. And we'll be allowing rides all night long up until 10 p.m. tonight. So if you get a chance, you want to get out there and not deal with the crowds, you can ride today till 10. So some of you in the audience and on the stage, I think, have a balsa wood plane on your seat. So get it out now, if you would, and start putting it together, because we're going to be doing something with that in just a little bit. So before I invite the speakers up here, I have a couple of stats I was asked to speak to. There's about 125,000 feet of rail. It's 166,000 feet of sidewalk. There's over 4.5 million pounds of steel girders. I remember we had a ceremony here when the bridge came down, and Carlton Christensen and I are here when the last beam went up, and it's really quite a monument to see that new bridge that we have here. So it's exciting. I guess I'd also like to shout out to Rocky Mountain Power. I don't know if I've seen Rich Walgie here, but we now have the first ever solar panels on our platforms, on our canopies, on the stations out by the power station as well. So thanks to Rocky Mountain for contributing to that energy conservation program. So from rebuilding this bridge to working behind the scenes, everybody has been a fabulous partner, and that's really what it's about. And I can have a shout out to the FAA, Salt Lake City, the Utah Department of Transportation, the Union Pacific Railroad behind us have been great. And certainly I just met one of the new Federal Railroad Administration people. They've really just stepped up, joined hands, and made this a great partnership for it. And that's what it's all about. So a final round of applause to those folks as well. And then last, as I got to ride the train this morning, thanks to all the businesses out on 4 South that, number one, have endured the construction that we have. Yeah, excuse me, on North Temple. Shop North Temple. A couple of those businesses I got a chance to talk to today, KRCL and Diamond Parking and KOA, and then certainly all of the food that we have at these stops, Red Iguana here, Diamond Lil's, Pipa's at the next station west of us here. It is really, really great food, so thank them all as well. So I have the pleasure today of introducing some speakers, and we're honored to have them here with us today. And I'll call out all of them that will be coming up, and they'll come up in that particular order. So the first will be Governor Gary Herbert, followed by Representative Congressman Jim Matheson, Councilman Carlton Christensen, who is also the chair of the Utah League of Cities and Towns, Councilman Kyle Lamalfa, who is the chair of Salt Lake City Council, Mayor Ralph Becker, Lane Beatty, the head of the Chamber of Commerce, and then wrapping up with Greg Hughes, who's the chairman of the UTA board. So it's an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to introduce the governor and have him come up and say a few words.
Well, thank you, Mike. I'm indeed honored to be here with all of you today, and I know as we get together, this will seem in many ways like a kind of a group hug. And as the temperature continues to drop, there's going to be a practical value in that as we have a group hug. Some of you may know I just came from California for a couple of days and trying to help a lot of businesses there understand there's other opportunities outside of California to expand your business. It was interesting to me as we had 4 or 5 different receptions and people talking about the successes we're having in Utah and some of the challenges they're facing in their business community. On more than one occasion, people came up and said, I've been to Salt Lake City. What a beautiful area of our country. And I really like your rail system. So people outside of Utah are noticing some of the great things that we're doing here in Utah. The economic growth that's taking place, the quality of life, and the fact that we are progressive in trying to find ways of utilizing mass transit to help us. My focus has been on the economy, as most of you know, and we're having some great results. Our economy now is growing at 4% annualized rate. To put that in perspective, our historical averages have been 3.2% annual rate. So to see us now growing better than our historical averages means that we're doing something right. Clearly, the transportation system we have here along the Wasatch Front throughout Utah is an important part of having economic success. Our business community has told us we need to have transportation capability if we're going to grow our economies and for our business success. Mass transit and what we're celebrating here today is a big part of that effort. And I'm proud to see the success in this next phase. As most of you know, the airport TRAX is part of an overall project called Frontlines 2015. Really a $2 billion program that the voters here, have approved in 2006. And this is the next phase of it. And as we typically do in Utah, we do things a little bit better. We sometimes take it for granted. But this project is a project that's 2 years ahead of schedule and $40 million under budget. That's the Utah way. I think there's significant benefits we all appreciate that are going to take place here without enumerating too many of them. But access to our airport is going to be just such a benefit to all of us for so many different reasons. It's going to help people that come in and want to get to downtown from the airport and have the TRAX line for our tourism and travel, for people wanting to get up on the slopes and enjoy the snow and the outdoor recreation we have capable of here. The transportation from what's the 15th busiest airport. I sometimes realize how we've grown at our Salt Lake International Airport is going to be, again, a benefit. For the environment, the benefits of keeping the air cleaner, getting us out of our automobiles, having less trips, using our TRAX and our front runner is going to be, again, a significant benefit, particularly where 57% of our pollution that comes during our inversions comes out of the tailpipes of our cars. So the benefits are going to be economical. They're going to be a quality of life. They're going to help us with our environmental concerns we have here. It's going to revitalize, I think, the west side of Salt Lake. North Temple is a boulevard for, it's going to grow and be exciting. So again, the benefits are just significant and great. By the way, I don't know if everybody knows this, but for the press, this is all funded by local monies. Sometimes we think that everything comes to us from the federal government. That's really not taking place here. This is local money. So let me just conclude by saying when I was first inaugurated as governor of this great state, and what a privilege it's been, we talked about the need to formulate unprecedented partnerships. We have some disagreement, differences of opinion, but clearly we can accomplish more as we work together. And I said, unprecedented partnerships will give us unlimited possibilities for what we can do in the future for this state as a community, as a people of Utah. I see that happening. I see us pulling together in ways we've not done in the past. And that's good for us, quality of life, for our communities, and certainly for our economy. So I want to commend all those who are involved. We have many of the people up here on the stage, many of you here in the audience, and some that aren't here with us. But certainly want to thank Salt Lake City, UTA, UDOT, the legislature, which is a significant support to our transportation system, not only with our TRAX and front runner system, but for all of our transportation. The people at Salt Lake International Airport, LDS Church, our faith-based organizations, all that are a part of this effort, we want to give a shout out and a thanks to. We have an opportunity with Rocky Mountain Power, Union Pacific Railroad, others, as we come together to really set the example to other states. As I mentioned, and I'll finish with this comment where I started, I was in California. I was with a governor from Virginia, Bob McDonald, longtime good friend of mine. And as we were out there meeting these different receptions and talking to people, Bob took the occasion to talk to me about how much he admires Utah. He was here 2 years ago for our National Governors Association conference. Said, I've never been to a more beautiful city than Salt Lake City, and I've never met more friendly people. He had told me before, and he reiterated it again. He says, Utah has put itself in a position where all the other states are in Utah's rearview mirror. A high compliment. So thank you for all you're doing to help us be number one. Congratulations to everybody.
You know, in the House of Representatives, one of the committee rooms, the Science Committee, has two inscriptions up on the wall. And one of them is from Proverbs. It says, without vision, the people will perish. And the other statement's a little bit longer, and it says, for I dipped my eyes into the future, saw as far as human eyes could see. I saw the wonder of the world and all the beauty that could be. The notion of that we're here today, and we see this great project, there were folks who many, many years ago had a vision. And that really means something. It's something that's a tradition in this state, where people look ahead to the next generation and make those long-term decisions about committing to infrastructure to improve our quality of life. Several decades ago, people put in water infrastructure in this state. We're the second Modera state. We have water. Here's another example today where people showed some vision. And we have this great asset that's going to mean so much to our community. I find, as a representative in Washington, that it's such a pleasure to represent a state like Utah and have a transit agency like UTA, because they do things so well. As the governor said, this project's not unique. UTA has a history of bringing projects in on time and under budget. And not everyone around the country does it that way. And so when it comes time to be an advocate for transit projects in Utah, which is something that I've been very honored to do my whole career, it's a little easier for me to do that because I've got the backing of a circumstance here in Utah where we have a community that has come together in a constructive way and knows how to make things happen so well. So I salute UTA and I salute so many of the other folks who were involved in making this a reality today. This is an important moment in the history of our state, and particularly in the history of this city and the west side of this city, to have this line going along the North Temple Corridor. And I'm sure for years to come, we're going to marvel at how much happens in a positive way because of this new TRAX line going out there today. Thank you.
This is a nostalgic moment for me in many ways, but maybe with the exception of Mike Allegra, I probably am the only one on today's agenda that was here in December of '99 when we opened the north-south line, and I spoke on behalf of the council. It was, for those of you who were there that day, it was a pretty frigid and cold December morning, and anyway, but at the time, we were having discussions about what the alignment would be for the university leg of light rail, and that we had to, because of funding and the proximity of the Olympics, eliminate the airport leg of that discussion. And at the time, a lot of residents felt like maybe we wouldn't be back. I just want to assure you that we came back. And there's some advantages to not being the oldest in the family, because your parents make mistakes on the older children, and as the baby, you're the perfected outcome of a good process. The airport line of light rail is the result of that good process, and we certainly benefited from the learning experiences before. I just want to commend those who are involved and for the wonderful opportunity this has in bringing the fabric of our West Side communities together and our region as local officials as we look to the future, accommodating growth that is on our horizon and coming at us quickly. A mixed use of transportation is essential to the economic lifeblood of our communities. And to those involved, thank you very much.
My name's Kyle Lamoff. I'm the chairman of the Salt Lake City Council and relatively new to the TRAX line project. I didn't get to decide to build it, but I'm certainly proud to be here when it's open. As a remarkable coincidence today, I have to catch a plane at 5 o'clock. So I will be one of the first ones to benefit from this great new asset. And also one of the ones that's not going to have to hassle to find a ride or park way out there in long-term parking. If there's anything I think I want to communicate today, it's that if you're not on North Temple now, you should be there. With the key stops at business nodes and with soon-to-come employment centers out at the airport, North Temple is the place to be. That's where it's at. And this project really brought our community together. Our community's already strong, but it's further strengthened by all this activity. Wasatch 2040 has predicted thousands and tens of thousands of people moving into Salt Lake City over the next 25 years. And Salt Lake City is committed to the success of North Temple with our redevelopment agency and with having built a complete street. I think, well, in closing, I'll be brief. I got a plane to catch.
Good afternoon. I'm Mayor Ralph Becker. Isn't it great to see all these trains running? You know, this has really been a labor of love for so many people. And as has been mentioned, there are so many people who have devoted a good part of their lives to making this day happen. And I just want to mention, in addition to the folks who have been mentioned, two communities. First, the community of workers who built this line. I can tell you, for those of us who have been participating from the beginning on this line, that this kind of a project takes a commitment all the way through. And the workers on this line were not only incredibly efficient and successful under Stacy Whitback, but they also were always responsive to the community. We had an incredible person working with us in Salt Lake City, Bill Knowles, but the workers were always there. Yeah, Bill. The workers were always there to respond to the individual needs of businesses. And you go through a project like this, and we get to the end of it, and along the entire length of North Temple, only one business closed, and that takes an incredible commitment from the workers. So thank you again for that. The other folks I want to just mention briefly is the West Side community. The residents and the businesses of the west side of Salt Lake City have given so much in this community, and now there will be big returns. So thank you for putting up with a lot. And what we have now is a showcase. It is a showcase for Salt Lake City and this whole region. It is what rail we love and want, but it is also what we want in our roads. Isn't it great seeing people walking across North Temple? Before this bridge, that wasn't happening. Seeing people bike across North Temple, seeing folks taking the train. We now have, with our vehicles and all the other modes, what we call a complete street to serve everybody for today and for the foreseeable future. And we have a beautiful road corridor. And I don't know, those of you who have been noticing and watching this, but you put something like this in place as a community, and everybody rallies around it. I mean, this is now a beautiful spot in Salt Lake City. And we all take greater pride in it, and we're all going to see the dividends for many, many years to come. So thank you, all of you who've made this day possible.
Well, thank you very much. What a glorious Chamber of Commerce kind of day. The reason we can say that is that I was really concerned that you were going to have to sit here in perspiring heat. And I'm so grateful that we got the favors of not having to deal with that. You know, a lot of people are here today to celebrate the opening. And I so much like what Congressman Matheson said, that so many times people don't understand the sacrifices that people made. And just to build on that to a degree, it's very important that a lot of people don't understand the sacrifices that people have made for many years to make this happen. This would have never happened without the first backbone of light rail, with John Pingree standing up and pleading with people to vote for it. Would have never happened. It would have happened if we hadn't had the success we had on the east-west line up to the University of Utah and the medical center today. And it wouldn't have happened if we didn't have the ability to have the citizens of Salt Lake County and Utah County vote to be able to take an additional 1/4% sales tax so that these could be funded. People don't talk about the fact that you don't realize that the latest road improvement in Utah County wouldn't have happened without that vote of these two great counties. It wouldn't have happened because it was just billed at $1.7 billion of cost and not a penny of federal dollars. That all came from what the citizens here said. 4 new light rail lines, a new commuter rail line to Provo. Wouldn't have happened without the citizens saying, you know what, I want to pay for it now, not later. And so we have a wonderful insights from a lot of people who realized how important that was going to be. The sacrifices of so many people and the workers. You know what it takes to move a major overpass? You know what that's like? Well, that is very difficult to do. Just get the permits to tear the old one down. And yet the window, and I just again have to thank Mayor Becker, who really stepped forward with the city council to put additional money into it along with UTA to make that all possible. To move that back one complete block, people in the past would have never thought that was possible, but they did. It enhances the views of Gateway, of literally what's taking place all around us today. The beautification of the road. Did you not just show up here, or UTA just show up here and decide to do this in the normal way? Just do it cheap? Well, they did do it cheap. But you tell me if it looks like it when you go up there. Why did they do it cheap? Because UTA does it better, faster, and a lower cost than any place in America today. Any place. And why does that happen? It happens because of incredible leadership that go right to the top. And I want you to know from a businessman who cares a great deal about the economy of this state, how grateful I am to have an agency that has been able to do this, as is said so many times, under budget and ahead of schedule. What a great compliment. What a great compliment. The other association, may I just say, on businesses across the entire state, to the governor, to the wisdom of so many support groups that came behind to make this day a possibility, we will benefit from it for generations to come. And thanks those of the past generations that made this possible for us to reap the benefits, to strengthen the economy, to keep our families strong, to be able to keep our children here at home because they have jobs. great wisdom. Thank you very, very much.
My name is Greg Hughes. I'm the chairman of our board of trustees at UTA. I'm going to make it fast. I'm starting to feel a little bit of raindrops here, and 2 trustees texted me and said, "Hurry, Hughes," so I'm going to hurry. Let me just say this. You've heard a lot of talk about how we got here. I will never, ever get bored saying, and it will never be a tired statement to say, that we are ahead of schedule and under budget. It is an incredible feat. I'm very proud to be a small part of that. But to be quick, let me just say this. As a policymaker and as a board, and as we see the opinion leaders and the stakeholders here in the audience and on the stage, a lot of work has obviously been done to get to where we are right now. I don't want to just be a ribbon cutter, though. I don't want to be the guy that gets to be here after people started before I ever arrived and help get this here. I want to be part of a group that learns from the example that's been set, that we do and we act the way we see all the good things happening in front of us. We continue that. My favorite saying, and they've heard it too much at UTA, Wayne Gretzky said, as a hockey fan, good skaters, good hockey players skate to the puck. Great hockey players skate to where the puck is going to be. I challenge all of us to continue that vision, to look at this state and how we're growing and what we're going to have to do to contribute to make sure that we continue this vision and continue to be there so that future legislatures, future city councils, future policymakers will be cutting ribbons for the hard work that we do. Thank you very much. What a great day. Thanks for coming.
Well, that was perfect, wasn't it? Thank you all. One last shout out, if I could, is I wanted to say thanks to all the kids that are here, and thanks for bringing your parents with you, okay? Because at the end of the day, that's what this is about. This line will be here for another 30 or 40 years, and those are the people that are going to take advantage of the investments and sacrifices that have been made today. So with that, those that have assembled their planes, I'd like you to get them out and get ready. You also might want to put on aviator glasses if any of you have those in your packet. Mayor Schnarr down there, he's all set up. Very good. He's always on the ball. So on the count of 3, we're going to kick off the airport line and let these planes fly, okay? Ready? And look over here to the south, just if you will. Count off. 1, 2, 3. Let them fly. Woohoo! Thank you all for coming. Enjoy the day. We survived the rain. Let's go ride these trains.